33-story hotel and condo project.
I'd probably be
okay,
like
that.
stop,
tap.
This is a plan by the community for the community.
This one here. Showing me.
No problem, Ken. Thanks for having me.
It's Kent Molgat for Kelowna Now. And we're joined by Janice Taylor, the founder of Mazu.
Yes.
So first of all, I want to get into some of the motivation that you had before you started up this site. You have a background in psychology.
I do.
And you looked around what was happening social media-wise and saw some problems.
I did.
Tell me about that.
Well, there was two problems I saw. One, I looked at it and noticed that the entry point to a social media platform was a username and password. And my first thought was, where's the agreed rules of behavior or core values that we have in real life? So that was my first clue. The second thing was like, who's really raising the kids in this village that we've decided to create online? My thought was that kids are getting exposed too early in their developmental cycle, psychologically and emotionally, to content and information that's just not good for them. And so I literally in 2009 opened up my computer, saw everyone connecting on Facebook, and I went, oh my, this is Pavlov's dog on steroids for the worse.
Right.
And I wondered about kids in that environment.
And there's some disturbing stats.
It's amazing.
Starting out with just, general happiness.
Yes.
These devices are not making our kids happy.
They're not. They're not making even adults happy. The most fascinating thing about this whole time period, and I would say this last decade, is the fact that we have this sort of unconsciousness that's happened, that we believe that when we're there that things are happening, but it's an illusion. But in fact, what's happening to kids, because they're not emotionally developed yet past their 18th birthday, kids don't stop emotionally developing until past their 18th birthday. They're being told things and put into filter bubbles that's ultimately really hurting them and hurting them psychologically, emotionally, mentally. Every aspect of their being is being impacted by what they're seeing.
And things like, this isn't just happiness levels. There's, suicidal tendencies can emerge from all of this.
Yeah, the saddest report just came in the Atlantic. A woman, a psychologist named Jean Twenge, she studied the impacts of this. And just in the last 2 years, there's been a double increase in suicide rates amongst girls. Our girls. It's the first time in history that girls are committing suicide more than boys. And there is a direct causal link back to Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, a direct link. And those are our babies. So
you can't just go home and invent your own internet, or can you?
Well, I still don't know if I've invented it, but for me, I looked at how we were raised. When we were kids, you had a village. And if you went to one parent's house, the parents had rules. And if you got in trouble there, by the time you even got home, the mom had phoned your mom and was like, okay, I gave that little bugger something. You know? And your mom was like, when you go to their house, you be respectful. And we raised our kids like a village. And if you were out late, you'd be like, oh, they'd phone your parents. Ken's still on the street. I got him. I'm taking him home. We raised our kids that way. But now in digital, I noticed there's no village. I was like, where's the digital village? Where's the village where we're on the same team caring for these children? And I noticed it didn't exist, and I just had to do something about it.
So this Mazu platform that you've created, I see, sort of keeps a parental lid on things up to a certain age anyway. So does that mean you're fully vetting all of the in and out traffic?
Everything.
Now, are kids going to put up with that?
Certain children will. So our demographic is 6 to 13. Your children still kind of like you then. And we also include parents. So it's not just for children, it's parents. It's family engagement. The second component of that, not only do we vet, but every piece of content must be tagged with a value. What I notice is that we're looking at content, but there's no point to it. So every piece of content has to be tagged with a value. And before it goes live, we do a 4-way test. And the 4-way test is we ask the person, is this the truth? Is this fair? Does this promote goodwill and friendships? Is it good for all concerned? And why we ask that is there's no consciousness in our social media.
Right, but it all happens so fast. Wouldn't this bog it all down and people would just say no?
In some cases, yes, they do. And we're okay with that because there's plenty of places where you can go elsewhere.
Right.
But for my baby Peyton, who's 11, I want her there, and she's okay with that.
So she's there, and she has friends that also are, and they can communicate on this platform together. But what about their other friends who aren't on it? Can they still communicate with them, or have you created a division?
Yeah, we've literally created that. And it's more importantly that Peyton actually wants to be here to talk with me, my mom, my sisters.
So you're okay with them kind of parceling themselves away from some other friendship groups as a result?
And I think we need to teach our kids that. I think we need to teach our kids that it's not all for one and everybody here and we all are in one spot. We need to think about where we family communicate. So we're really focused on family engagement. You, your wife, your parents.
So your daughter can't use Snapchat or Instagram?
And legally she can't until she's over 13. So part of our role within Mazu and what we see we're really beginning is educating parents. You know, your children really shouldn't be on those spaces, and I would argue well past their 13th birthday.
Right.
And so we need to start really looking at this, is asking ourselves first as parents, how do we communicate with our children in digital? Where can we put them that's safe and healthy for them? And how do we nurture them and raise them as a village?
Right. It's $10 a year.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones are free.
Mm-hmm.
So that must be a challenge.
It is. And we make the argument based on a few things. Number one is we verify that you are in fact an adult. And I think $10 a year to actually verify every adult in a space that could speak to my child is important.
Right.
Number two is there's no ads. There's absolutely zero advertising. We do not sell or collect your data. And half of that goes back to the user. So if you refer your family to this and they all pay, we give you half of that money back.
Wait, if I refer 3, then I would be...
You've actually made $5.
Okay, and I saw, and there was one graphic I saw on your site that I don't know if I liked too much, because it had like a $5 bubble over everybody's head, and I'm starting to think, okay, is a Mazu person going to be like the Amway person in the conversation?
You know, I think it's a great question. I think that it's something that we've always been really challenged towards. For us, it was more about thinking about us as co-op. Remember the co-op, or even Costco, right? I'm a member of this, I make a certain amount of money back because I'm part of this.
Right.
That's the way we look at it.
And people seem to like that model so far.
It's an education.
How much buy-in do you have? So how many Mazu people are there?
We have 275,000 downloads within our ecosystem and about 81,000 daily actives, and we just turned on the referral piece. So now we're just turning on that, and we'll see. You know, so far we have about a 12% conversion rate.
Right.
Because we can make the argument for safety and security and privacy and no ads.
Right.
And how much is your privacy worth? You know, that's the question we always turn back. Like for your Phoebe.
Right.
Is $10 a lot of money to spend on her in a year?
If it was a solid option, no, I'd spend $10 in a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat. It's just education. It's just starting to think about it.
So do you think this thing has here it is based in Kelowna, does it have the trajectory to be a big deal?
I think it does. I think in a different way. Not a big deal in what we think of social media. I believe the old system of the Wild Wild West is imploding. I believe that we are the LinkedIn for families. That's what we are. People will start to see themselves in segments. It's not everybody go to Snapchat and I'll be here. We don't all need to be on Instagram. Our lives are different like that. And so we're like the LinkedIn for families. A niche group of families that really care about privacy and security with their children. And I want to engage with my kids in a way that's healthy and positive.
Right. Well, that sounds great.
Thank you.
I wish you well. We'll see how it goes over the next little while.
Thank you. Yes, it's very interesting.
Terrific. And thank you for watching Kelowna Now.